Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Raising the Bar through Ubuntu, an academic symposium. We start this opening ceremony with our traditional shlok. We would like to request all participants to keep their videos off while the screen is shared.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुडध्वजा मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलाय तनोहरि मङ्गलम्
Divided into 3 dialogues, this week-long program is sure to leave you reflecting on the role of empathy in sustainability, the role of language in connecting us, and the relationship between STEM and faith. I would now like to invite our director, Mrs. Kaur, to address the gathering.
Namaskar. I take great pleasure in welcoming you to the opening ceremony of Ubuntu, Raising the Bar. I have often been asked, what is your understanding of an ideal school? And my answer has always been the same. It's a thinking school. A thinking school always looks ahead, looks back, pauses, reflects, and moves on. A thinking school is also a caring school. I feel very proud today that our principal, Mrs. Damayanti Mukherjee, gave concrete form to this belief. And she and our wonderful faculty have created this unique academic fest. Now, this fest will combine the intellect and the heart, rigorous research, and quiet reflection. Some of the finest minds will come together to work with our students. These brilliant people have one thing in common. They're all interested in you, our future generation. I congratulate all principals and teachers who have encouraged their students to take part in this fest, which is strangely devoid of the excitement of competition. However, 22 schools have come forward, and it's reinforced our belief that students can also think deeply about serious issues and are not always self-centeredly immersed in their career concerns. I'm sure that in the coming days, new friendships will be forged, new ideas will emerge, and everything that happens will have a touch of humanity. I am because you are. Let us ideate and act in the spirit of truth, beauty, and compassion. Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to call upon our head girl, Anvi Kothari, to talk about the essence of raising the bar through Ubuntu.
Good morning. It is my unique privilege as the head girl of Modern High School for Girls, Kolkata, to greet the 22 participating schools. This academic symposium, celebrating the platinum year of our school, comprises international attendees from UK and Germany, as well as from across the nation, from Coimbatore to Pune, and from all over Kolkata. We truly appreciate your enthusiasm and hope that your takeaways will be enriching. In the last year and a half, the global pandemic has made us realize that local and global cooperation, which have been inspiringly unprecedented, is the only answer to combat the miasma of loss and uncertainty. This disruption has also given us a much needed pause, a time to reflect on our actions as well as lack of action and look deeply into some of the major concerns and crises begging global attention. The three dialogues taking the pathways of humanities, languages, and STEM are part of an attempt to be thoughtful, reflective, principled, and caring. Educators across the globe are striving to keep learning alive, and students across the globe are adapting to learning from these many sources. They all have reiterated that these are parts of a greater whole. Thus, in a certain sense, there has been a raising of the bar in the context of what education is all about. Keeping this in mind, we have added to the sense of Ubuntu the concept of oneness in humanity as the basis of all our explorations during the week-long academic symposium. On behalf of my school, I wish all my peers a value-added experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Anvi. May I now invite Nishita Lulla to speak to us about the intrinsic strength of creativity that has always served humankind to create cosmos out of a sense of chaos. This song of hope was penned down for this symposium by our senior Hindi facilitator, Mrs. Sudha Singh.
अंधेरे के गर्भ से नई सुबह का सृजन हुआ, सृष्टि जागी, धरती खिल गई, मानवता का सृजन हुआ, पेड़ पहाड़ चांद और सूरज, नदी झरने खेत बगान, देखो कैसे खिल गई धरती, प्रकृति के भिन्न भिन्न उपादान। कोयल कूकी, मोर है नाचे, भौरों ने किए गुनगुन गान। माँ के आंचल से हुई एक नए जीवन की शुरुआत, नई आवश्यकता, नई नई खोजें, नए नए आविष्कार हुए। ईश्वर की इस सृष्टि में ऐसे सृजन कई बार हुए। जैसी इच्छा जैसी सोच, वैसी पूर्ति वैसी खोज, मानव ने हर बार किए। ऐसे चमत्कार कई बार हुए। छोटे छोटे पगों से हमने हिमालय को पार किया, सागर की गहराई देखी, मंगल अभियान किया। सोच के पंख लगाकर कल्पना ने जब जब उड़ान भरी, तब तब तूने निर्माण किया, सृष्टि का आह्वान किया। ज्ञान विज्ञान कला व्यापार, संगीत और गान, कविता का बखान, सबका तूने प्रसार किया, सबका तूने निर्माण किया। समय बदला, सदियां बदली, बदली परिस्थितियां तमाम, परंतु जारी है जीवन की निर्माण की प्रक्रिया तमाम। सृजन बहती धारा है सृष्टि के विकास का। सृजन चरती शाखा है सृष्टि के निर्माण का। सृजन चरता सूरज है सृष्टि के उत्थान का। सृजन इंद्रधनुष है सृष्टि के कल्पना का। सृजन खिलता फूल है सृष्टि के उत्साह का। सृजन शाश्वत है, सृजन ईश्वरीय है। सृजन ही है सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Nishita. Change can bring forth different responses. It can bring forth uncertainty and fear, but it can also invoke the urge to explore. Every change is thus an opportunity. We now have a dance performance which captures this concept of change.
झांके खिड़की खुलने को बोलो तो कुंडियां खींचे खिड़की हवा करे है खट खट कब से खुलने को बोलो तो कुंडियां खींचे खिड़की अब खुल जा रे खुल भी जाना खिड़की अब खुल जा रे खुल भी जाना खिड़की दीवार के पार भी दुनिया है रे खिड़की अब खुल जा रे खुल भी जाना खिड़की छुपी सी क्यों है जग से चुप चाप सी बैठी है कब से बोल दे कुछ तो कसम है ये किसकी धूप गिरी है धीमी आँच पे ओस गिरी है तेरे कांच पे उंगली से कुछ है ये कहते
Thank you. I would now like to invite our principal, Mrs. Mukherjee, to say a few words.
And a warm welcome to a celebration of thinking, speaking, contradicting, analyzing, reflecting, and of course, sharing. Welcome to our academic symposium, Raising the Bar through Ubuntu. In March 2020, through our familiar universe of routine into a complete chaos. The country went into a physical lockdown, and for school education, that was a nightmare kind of reality. April May is marked in all school calendars as exam time and or new session time. All of us, teachers, students, even guardians, just scrambled to climb aboard that Noah's Ark called virtual platform. And in the next few weeks and months, we discovered that not only could we ride out that swell, it was quite an adventure actually. Once we moved past the initial fear of fumbling with edtech tools or feeling terrorized every time we thought about the lack of printed resources. That's the textbooks, remember? The textbooks were all locked in the school stores. Students nimble in the digital world held our hands. And together, we explored Microsoft and Google options, Chrome extensions, podcasts, TED Talks, edu portals, and a seemingly inexhaustible pool of resources available completely free of cost for educational usage. Also, in students' homes, front door of households remained closed, but the conversation doors between the generations opened. This was a discovery. This was a discovery of a knowledge source that had not really been seriously explored, perhaps ever. Both teachers and students, of course, showed enthusiasm in signing up for webinars, trainings, self learning tutorials. All of this naturally changed the landscape of education, especially school education. Therefore, as we moved towards the end of 2020, classrooms did not hold their breath in terms of syllabus, and transfer of information no longer flowed from the adult to the young. Students learned from everywhere, and we, the teachers, became fellow journeymen, resulting in a certain raising of the bar. The reimagination of the purpose of learning became the backdrop of this academic symposium. We decided that we would use certain areas of knowledge, that is, the broad subject groups of humanities, languages, and STEM, to question how we know what we claim to know and what use do we make of that knowing. The aim of the symposium is to scrutinize contemporary issues, employ multiple perspectives, appreciate grassroots activism, and apply worldviews to gain a better understanding about where we stand as Homo sapiens. The concept of empathy, a human quality that has manifested itself time and again in the past few months, became a natural choice as the overarching theme as we came to the realization that no learning is meaningful unless we attempt to rediscover what Nelson Mandela had urged the world to reflect upon: the profound sense that we are humane only through the humanity of others. Thus, empathy becomes becomes the lens, the vessel, or the prism for all our deliberations throughout this week. The virtual nature of the symposium has given us the opportunity to be thought partners with 21 schools across India. And I take this occasion to extend my appreciation to the heads of all participating schools. Your students and your teacher representatives are very important members of a knowledge commune. Our presenters, judges, panelists bring not only the expertise of their diverse fields, but also the gift of their enthusiasm to be part of these dialogues. We feel really, really blessed by their excitement and by their enthusiasm. This symposium is part of our Jubilee celebration, and we thank each one of you very, very much to be part of it. Thank you and have a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you, ma'am, for reminding us that empathy has the power to bring us together in the face of adversity. We now have Vani Agarwal, member of our core team, who will be explaining the rules for this symposium.
Before we begin, I would request everyone to note that there are certain house rules that must be followed through the course of the symposium. While this has been sent to student representatives of all schools, this is a reiteration to ensure that there are no issues. All participants are requested to keep their microphones on mute. Of course, if you would like to respond or participate in the conversation, I would request you to use the raise hand option and wait until you are recognized to unmute. All meetings will be recorded. Next slide, please. The participants are expected to wear Western formal clothing during any event. Next slide, please. The naming convention for Zoom, as shown on the screen, is school name underscore followed by your full name. The profile pictures of the participants' Zoom accounts are to be the logos of their respective schools. If your school logo is not available to you for any reason, you are expected to have a blank profile picture. All participants are expected to join the meetings 5 minutes before the given time. There is no prior preparation required for any of the events. However, we would encourage all participants to take notes and ask questions because the activities will be based on the workshops that are conducted the previous day. All participants are advised to have a stable internet connection. On each day, there is one lunch break and short breaks included. Please do not log out of the Zoom meetings during these breaks. Rather, you may turn off your cameras. I would request you to be back at your stations at the given time. Only teacher and student representatives of each dialogue will join the closing ceremony over Zoom. A YouTube live stream link will be sent to all other participants. Thank you. I would like to now request Mrs. Som and Mrs. Chatterjee to respond to any queries about the symposium. If there are any such questions, do put them on the chat box and they will be answered promptly.
As you write your queries in the chat, there are certain queries we have received and which we would like to respond to.
One of the most frequent questions that we've received is, are there any prior preparations required for any of the dialogues? And the answer is no. Participants are encouraged to engage themselves during the workshops. They are advised to ask questions, take notes if required, and participate actively in all discussions. You see, the thought triggers for the following day's students' activities will be embedded in these discussions. We have on board luminaries in their respective fields who are here to share their expertise with the students. And we hope that the participants will benefit a lot from these sessions.
Another question which we've received is what exactly is the role of teacher representatives? Now, teacher representatives are requested to actively engage in discussions during the sessions. Their inputs will definitely add value to the sessions. We would also be glad to hear their takeaways. They will also be guiding and facilitating their respective school teams, providing them with prompts and intervene only if the situation demands. We would also request all teacher representatives to ensure that their school team is comfortably attending all the sessions. However, in case of any emergency, please feel free to get in touch with the respective MHS dialogue coordinators.
Another question that has frequently been asked is, can participants take material from web resources for any of the competitive or non-competitive events? Well, we definitely appreciate original ideas, but we also understand that there is some need of referring to resource material. However, all of these resources that you use should be acknowledged in every presentation that you make.
Another question we've been receiving quite often, are students expected to be present for the entire duration on both days of their respective dialogues? The answer is a big yes. They are expected to attend all the workshops and participate in all student activities for the dialogue they have registered. Since there is a competitive event in each dialogue, the participants attending the sessions on the first day need to attend it on the second day as well. Otherwise, a team deserving to win may get disqualified. However, we do understand that unavoidable situations might arise. In such cases, we would request the teacher representative to let us know at the earliest.
Another question that we have received is, can one single student participate in more than one dialogue? Well, of course, yes. We definitely appreciate and encourage a holistic understanding of raising the bar through Ubuntu.
Vani, are there any more questions on the chat?
At this moment, there are no questions on the chat.
Okay, then so we move forward with the next segment, please.
Thank you, teachers. Since there are no more questions, I would like to request everyone to switch on their cameras so that we can take an official screenshot of the opening ceremony. Thank you. With this, we come to the end of the opening ceremony. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let us now start our enriching journey with Ubuntu. We would like to request the participants of Dialogue 1 to join the meeting tomorrow at 8:55 a.m. We will end this meeting now and we look forward to meeting all of you throughout the week. Thank you.